In the heart of Dunn County, the mystery of Mary Schlais' murder still sends shivers down the spines of locals. The scene was chilling. Mary's lifeless body, bearing the scars of a brutal attack, lay abandoned in the snow. Despite tireless efforts, her killer slipped through the cracks, leaving a community haunted by the specter of unsolved injustice. And as the years passed, whispers of Mary's restless spirit wandering the lonely roads kept the town on edge, a chilling reminder of a mystery yet to be unraveled. Before we get started with our story, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon. Mary Schlais was born on September 16, 1944, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Growing up in Minneapolis, she loved art from a young age. Mary went to art school to get better at it. She was really smart and could speak 3 languages: Dutch, German, and English. She even started learning Japanese recently. After doing well in school, Mary graduated with honors from the University of Minnesota in 1973. Mary liked to travel and see new places. She hitchhiked across the United States and went on a trip to Europe. She had lots of cool stories from her travels. In early 1973, Mary wanted to go to an art show in Chicago. She planned to hitchhike to Madison, Wisconsin, and then go to Chicago. On February 15, 1974, Mary said goodbye to her home in Minneapolis and started her journey. But something went wrong, and she disappeared along the way. Later that day, a man named Dennis Anderson was driving home after buying some things near his house in Dunn County, Wisconsin. He was enjoying the ride with his dog, so he decided to keep driving around. After a while, he ended up on a road that didn't go anywhere. As he drove along, he saw a small gold car parked by the side of the road. Nearby, 2 men were fighting. At first, Anderson just kept driving. But as he thought about what he saw, he felt something wasn't right. He slowed down, turned around, and went back to where he saw the 2 men. But when he got there, the car and the men were gone. However, he noticed something lying in the ditch. He thought the person might be hurt, so he quickly drove back home. When he got home, he told his wife what he saw. Together with a neighbor named Dan Murphy, they went back to help the person in the ditch. When they got there, they found a young woman lying on the ground. It was clear she was dead, and it looked like something bad had happened to her. Anderson and Murphy went to a nearby house and called the sheriff's department for help. When law enforcement arrived, they immediately began to investigate what was very plainly a murder. Finding tire tracks from what they presumed to be the killer's car, they took photographs and measurements of the tire tread. Although they tried to take a plaster mold of them, the freshly fallen snow hampered the process, and the molds were nearly unusable. A black and orange stocking cap was found nearby that contained several hairs. Mary's coat and purse were missing. Beyond that, there wasn't much of note for investigators to follow up on. An autopsy of Mary's body revealed that she had been stabbed 15 times in her neck, back, and stomach by a thin-bladed knife. She also bore the evidence of a brutal beating. Her nose had been broken, and she had several bruises all over her body and face. In spite of having been so badly attacked, Mary had also put up a tremendous fight, as evidenced by several cuts on her hands. She had scratched her killer in the fight, and blood and skin samples were removed from under her fingernails and preserved. Mary's body was returned to her family and buried in Minnesota. Police followed up every lead and suspect that they possibly could. The hair samples found at the scene were compared to 12 or more suspects as the investigation wore on. Unfortunately, none of them matched. No matter how hard they tried, investigators hit on nothing that helped them find Mary's killer. Eventually, the leads played out, and the case went cold. The police never let the case rest over the years. If some people are to be believed, Mary's spirit didn't rest either. Over the years, many locals in Dunn County reported seeing strange things in the area near where Mary's body was found. Some individuals have claimed that they've seen a young woman with long, brown hair walking alongside the road where Mary was found. She looks as solid and real as anyone, but when they glance away and look back, the woman is nowhere to be seen. Some say that they see the same woman hitchhiking in the area, trying to catch a ride. She, too, is said to vanish when someone looks away. In one instance, 2 fishermen were sitting close to the Elk Lake Dam nearby. They sat in silence, keeping things quiet so as not to disturb the fish. One man, tired of staring at the water, turned his head to look behind him. Calmly, he looked back at the water and told his companion that there was a woman standing close behind them. She was, quite literally, glowing. The other man nodded, never taking his eyes off the lake. "I know," he replied, "but I'm not turning around." In 1994, 20 years after the death of Mary Schlais, an elderly woman named Virginia Hendricks began to tell a very strange story. Virginia Hendricks claimed that a young blonde woman visited her garden every day. The visitor always wore the same outfit, capri pants and a pink sweater, and introduced herself as Mary. Virginia shared this story with others, but no one else could see Mary. Sadly, Virginia was suffering from dementia, and it was believed that Mary was just a hallucination. One day, Virginia's daughter learned about the unsolved murder of Mary Schlais and thought of her mother's visitor. However, Mary was actually wearing denim slacks and a maroon sweater when she died, not the outfit described by Virginia. The question remains, does the ghost of Mary Schlais still wander the area where she died? Is her spirit restless because her murder was never solved? Maybe. Whether or not Mary's ghost haunts the area around Elk Lake Dam is uncertain. But what's certain is that she still lives on in the hearts and minds of Dunn County residents. Craig Kozer, the lead investigator, never gave up hope of finding Mary's killer. Even after 50 years, he kept a photo of Mary on his desk as a reminder that her case remained unsolved and that justice had not been served.